I have a Judge Shauna Graves Robertson from the city of Salt Lake. Shauna is a Salt Lake City District Judge, sitting judge, and I just thought it would be important to have her on the show to give us a little insight about herself, her journey uh, throughout her life to this point in time, and just kind of share a little bit with us about who you are. I'd like to introduce Judge Shauna Graves Robertson. You have the floor, ma'am.
Well, thank you very much. It is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be with you gentlemen this afternoon. And I think instead of just talking about everything in the world that I could mention, why don't you tell me specifically what you might like to know, and I will address those questions.
Okay, fair enough. So let us first talk about where you come from. I know that you were born here in Salt Lake, and your journey uh, to where you are now, uh, because it's important that we have listeners out there today that may be on the same path, that maybe something that you say today will encourage someone to take the next step and proceed forward with their career path.
Well, in short, as you said, I am a native of Salt Lake City, Utah, born and raised on what we call the West Side. So for many, that would be the other side of the tracks. I was raised by a single woman. My mother was a single mother. And like many who are single, she did what was necessary to provide for and make sure that I had what I needed. But in addition to my mother's help, I was fortunate enough to truly have a beloved community. Once it looked like I might want to go on and go a little forward and go to college and things of that nature, the community gathered around. For example, I got my undergraduate degree at Arizona State University and American University. I have a BS in criminal justice, a master's degree in public administration, and a Juris Doctorate. But with my undergraduate degree at Arizona State University, I can hardly remember a week that went by that I didn't have a little something in the mailbox almost every day. And it might be $10, it might be $5, it might be $20 from the people in the community. Again, making sure that I had what I needed. I also had amazing godparents. I lived in the Tempe area, and my godparents lived 105 miles away in Tucson. So I had a place to go back and forth on the weekends. But together, people got behind me and raised me and made sure that I had what I needed. I had fabulous mentors: Dr. Alberta Henry, Reverend France Davis, Dr. Afesha Adams, Dr. Ron Coleman, just to name a few. You know, no one gets to where they are by themselves. They might like to think that, but the fact of the matter is, you need help. And it is imperative in our community that we get behind our young people, that we mentor, that we coach, that we provide not only the knowledge and the experience that they need, but monetary help as well. College is expensive, and I have 3 different degrees, and I had help on all of them. So I began my career in the legal field as a defense attorney. I did civil work, and I came to the Salt Lake County Justice Court in 1999. This was a court where there were 4 women that were judges, which was real rare and is still rare. in here in the state of Utah. Those women, although not African American women, thought it not robbery, again, to mentor, to coach, to say these are the things that you're going to need to be able to make it in this particular profession. And 26 years later, I am still here. I have enjoyed my time. I have enjoyed my service. And now comes that time as I move on that I'm looking for someone else to move in and to move up.
Fantastic. And that brings me to an important question as you were speaking. What was the catalyst that took you into the justice field?
Well, as a youth, I was a member of the NAACP youth branch. And so the whole civil rights arena had a big effect on my life. I mean, I went and I associated with people like Roy Wilkins and people like Julian Bond, and these were people that I saw on a regular basis. And so when you are around those kinds of giants, a little bit of that can often rub off. Dr. Alberta Henry, who was the local president here for many years, took an interest in me and in what I was doing. And together we were road buddies. She made sure that I went to all the national conferences, all the regional conferences. And so that piqued my interest in the law. And my first desire was to be a civil rights attorney. That was what was in my mind. I ultimately went another way, went into the criminal path, but the civil rights arena was my first desire and the first path that I wanted to get onto.
Wow. Okay. Uh, Also, growing up in Salt Lake, um, I've only been here for about 10 years. When I first moved here, people told me how diverse the culture was. But as far as an African American woman growing up here in Salt Lake, were there certain struggles that you faced just as an African American here in Salt Lake?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I don't know anyone that doesn't face those struggles, but let me tell you from my perspective, of course, a setback is just a setup for a comeback. So, whatever roadblock I faced, it was just a matter of turning to my community and or turning to my faith to figure out how to get past that. You can't dwell on the can't or the they won't let me or they don't like me because let me tell you, there are people that are not going to like you just because you show up and you are who you are. And you have a choice. Are you going to let that stop you? Or are you going to move on anyhow? Lord, don't move my mountain. Just give me the strength to go around it. And
Yeah.
my deep, abiding faith was always something that helped me go through. The Lord gives you what you need. You just have to be willing to lean, to depend, and to trust on. And so, sure, there were struggles, but I don't dwell on the struggles. I don't dwell on the negative. I look for the positive.
Wow. That is fantastic. And I know you from church, and I thank you and both your husband for mentoring me a little bit. John has been a mentor to me, and thank you for being a role model as for someone to look up to. I also want to ask you about your college affiliations. Any sororities that you belong to?
Oh, of course. Of course. I have been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated for over 40 years. I have served at the local level, the regional level, and the international level. That is where I give my service. Of course, our motto is service to all mankind, and I hope that I have held that up. We believe that you pass on the torch. And so, as I said from the beginning, it is now time for me to pass on that torch. In 4 years, I will be what's called a golden soror, meaning that I will have given 50 years of service.
Wow.
And one of the things about this organization is you don't stop. You go as long as you can possibly go. And I think that what Alpha Kappa Alpha gave me was a network. It doesn't matter where I have been in the world. I have been able to find someone that was a member of the sorority, or even if not a member of my sorority, but a member of what we call the Divine Nine. We hold each other up. And I have traveled all over the world, and it has been a joy to recognize my sisters of Delta Sigma Theta, or Sigma Gamma Rho, or Zeta Phi Beta, my brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, or Kappa Alpha Psi, or any of those Omega Psi Phi, Phi Beta Sigma. We recognize each other and hold each other up. So, yes, I do have long, deep roots in the D9 community.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And one other thing I would like to ask and inquire of you, some of your accomplishments. Well, I must ask this question. As a member of the Justice Society, having a Supreme Court justice who looks like you, who is representative of us here in America, I am sure you are ecstatic about that. But tell us how you feel about it.
Well, of course, I feel like it's long overdue, but I am certainly happy that it has happened. It is important that people see people who look like them. You wonder, can I attain this level? Will they understand me? Will they know my thoughts? Will they know my fears? And so we have someone that we can look to, that can be proud of. Her record is spotless. She went to the best colleges and universities, so you can't say that she's not qualified.
Right.
In order for us to attain, we have to be more than qualified. So she is certainly that. And I am tickled pink. Now, you talk about the Divine Nine. She happens to be an honorary member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But that doesn't matter. I am just as proud, if not prouder, because she represents us all.
Yes. Wow. I was seeing that. I was just like, finally, you know, our country is taking these great steps with us as far as the positions that we hold in our country. And I mean, we've even held the president of the United States, and it is grateful. I'm grateful uh, to this nation for what we are trying to accomplish. My final question for you will be: any aspirations for anything else in the future? Anything else that you set your mind out to attain that you'd like to obtain?
Well, it depends on what you mean by attaining. If you're talking about, am I looking at leveling up or progressing on the bench? The answer is no. After 26 years, I'm not looking to go up, I'm looking to go out. I am looking forward to becoming a grandmother. My daughter's going to bless me with a grandson the last of October, and my name will change from Judge to Nana. And that is what I want to attain. I am ready to give my grandson all I have plus some, to prepare him as a young Black man, knowing what he can attain in this nature. That's my goal.
Wow, that's a powerful goal. That is a very powerful goal. Well, I am going to wish you the best. I am a grandparent myself, and it is a blessing to have grandkids, boys and girls. So I'm going to wish that upon you, that you have a blessed grandchild, and that I'm sure you're going to spoil him.
Oh, absolutely rotten. Absolutely cannot wait. So yes, but I want to spoil him, but I want to spoil him and train him at the same time. To be a young Black man in this country, there's some rules and regulations that you need to be aware of. And I want to make sure that he is aware of who he is and what his responsibilities are. We can never look over what our responsibilities are. To whom much is given, much is required.
Right. And you said it earlier about being in a village, and that still needs to continue today with our young folks. They need to know that they have support, that they have someone that they can depend on, and someone who is going to guide them in the right direction. That is absolutely wonderful. Dr.